Let's start our talk about photo stories with some historical perspective on W. Eugene Smith. He was an early photojournalist in the 30s who really invented the modern photo story. A couple of his prime examples are Country Doctor and Nurse Midwife. And this is an overview of his visual and narrative approaches. Life magazine really started the photo story here in the US in 1936. And early photo stories were somewhat formulaic and posed, and some of that had to do with the fact that, for example, shooting inside was difficult. The modern photo story did have some similarities to the original approaches, including a theme, main subjects, a conflict or complication or problem for the subject, a resolution to the conflict, and a sequence that had a beginning, a middle, and the end. And the pictures really did the storytelling. So W. Eugene Smith began his career as a newspaper photographer in Kansas City. Ultimately, he moved to New York City to work for Newsweek, and he was known for his perfectionism and being, frankly, a pretty difficult person to work with. He was eventually fired from Newsweek because he only wanted to work using 35mm cameras, and he refused to work with the larger medium format cameras at the time. In 1939, he was hired by Life magazine, which allowed him to continue using his beloved 35s. He defied his editors, paving the way for his groundbreaking 1948 photo essay, Country Doctor, the first modern photo story. We can see some of the examples here from that story. He was a masterful storyteller. He began Country Doctor with a wide shot to establish the scene, introduce the subject, and build reader interest in what was to follow. The candid approach allowed him to capture decisive moments, demonstrated the use of visual variety, and a feature style of photography. Here we can see low angles, we can see medium shots, we can see a close-up. Smith used medium shots to do the bulk of the storytelling and employed a variety of angles, layering, and decisive moments. He used complication, the challenges facing the doctor and patients, and the doctor's treatment and patient care as the resolution to the story. He was also well known for the clincher shot that served to end the story, like this photo of the doctor at the end of a tired day. Worth noting, this story includes a lot of other photos. Other famous stories of his would be Spanish Village, Nurse Midwife, A Man of Mercy, and then an essay about pollution in Japan in Minamata. And here's how the Nurse Midwife story played out in life. Again, we see a variety of photos, variety of angles. Smith stayed with this story till he felt that it was complete. While he was a difficult person to get along with professionally, he also demonstrated incredible sensitivity to his subjects, and he worked long hours to get just the right photos. And he got to know the subjects very well because he was there quite a while and often talked with them at length to ensure that his written narratives were complete and detailed and added to the story. And these stories demonstrate the importance of a visual consistency. They have well-defined visual styles and themes, and photos that lack this just sort of coexist, whereas Smith's photos really complement each other. Visual themes include decisive moments. It's visual variety, wide, medium, close-up, variety of high and low angles, and close-up, environmental, or casual portrait of the main subject. They have a sequence, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the photos and the supporting narrative explain the conflict and resolution for the main subject. The narrative is the title or headline that depicts what the photo story is about. It sets up the conflict of the subject early in the story and the resolution at the end. The narrative theme, the titles and captions should work in harmony with the visual theme to enhance and explain that story. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.